Good evening. Welcome. I'd like to call to order this regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting, October 22nd, 2025. It is 5:30 p.m. Ms. Stokoe, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Coco?
Here.
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Thank you. Item B is approval of the agenda. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves the agenda of the October 22nd, 2025 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education in adoption of a consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion unless a member of the Board of Education, treasurer, or superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and voted upon separately.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Stokoe, please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Item C is opening ceremony. Informational items. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, he or she must notify the superintendent and/or board president of the topic no later than 3 business days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by an announcement of his or her name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address found on the screen. And for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is November 12, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. And now for our Pledge of Allegiance and welcome, Ms. Stokoe.
Thank you. Please join me here at home.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City School District, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission, every student, every day, every opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Stokoe. Item D is presentations. Number 1 is awarding of diplomas. It is recommended that the Board of Education grants a Cuyahoga Falls High School diploma to the following individual who has now completed the requirements stated by the state of Ohio for high school graduation.
So moved. Second.
Ethan George Perkins Rios. Any comments?
This is somebody who's actually graduating early, so we congratulate Ethan for their diligence in getting everything done early and being our newest Cuyahoga Falls High School alumni.
Yes, congratulations to Ethan. Ms. Stokoe, please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye. Congratulations. And item 2 is our Staff Star Award. I'd like to call up Miss Allison Bogdan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and I want to congratulate the top Tigers that are here tonight for the recognition that you're going to be getting in just about 5 minutes. My name is Allison Bogdan. I'm the Director of Human Resources, and I am honored to be able to recognize a staff member every month that is nominated by a colleague. This month, I'm going to call up the person that nominated Meg Carr. Meg, stay there for a minute. We're going to bring up Kyle Spreitzer and Denny Oswald from the middle school. Denny is the principal, and Kyle is the counselor, and the person getting recognized is Miss Meg Carr, 6th grade teacher from the middle school. So come on up, Meg.
Hi there. My name's Kyle Spencer. I'm the school counselor, as said. Had the privilege of working with Meg for the past 5 years, as long as I've been here. And without a doubt, she deserves this month's Staff Shining Star Award. She has an incredible gift with connecting with our 6th graders, and really with middle schoolers as a whole. She treats every student with such genuine care, respect, and understanding. She goes above and beyond to make each child feel at home here in middle school. Some students even affectionately call her Mama Carr, which honestly couldn't be more fitting. But Meg's impact goes far beyond the classroom walls. She's the teacher who gives up her own lunch period to offer quiet movie time for kids who just need a break from the chaos of the lunchroom. A small act of kindness that makes a huge difference for those students. She brings some thoughtfulness to her colleagues. Just last week, after a particularly rough week for me, she showed up she sent me a Dunkin' gift card, just because she noticed I wasn't feeling quite myself. As a counselor, I'm usually the one asking others if they're okay, but Meg is the one who turns the question back on me. That says so much about who she is, and she truly sees people. Now, if you know Meg, you know she loves surprises. So when I found out she'd been chosen for this award, I actually tried to go warn her ahead of time. But before I could, I learned that she had already been surprised right in the middle of her neediest class period, and with the superintendent and principals walking in. And I think that moment perfectly sums up Meg. Calm, kind, and gracious, even in the middle of chaos. So Meg is a gift to our students, our staff, and the entire district. She embodies what it means to lead with a heart, and I feel incredibly grateful to work alongside her and to witness the difference she makes every single day. So congratulations, Meg, truly a shining star.
No, you don't have to. Thank
Next, I'd like to call Dr. Selico for the Purple Star Award for Preston Elementary.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody? It's a nice, cold, rainy day. I mean, I guess summer's over for sure now. Get the good hot temperatures.
No.
We're back to cold.
This last Wednesday.
Well, this evening I have a couple of recognitions. One most of you are waiting for, which is Top Tiger, but we're going to just do a couple little things before we get to that. First, I'd like to call forward, as Mrs. President Coco had stated, our Purple School Award. So I would like to ask anyone from Preston. I don't know, Miss Principal Brown, do you have anybody with you today? I saw
Miss
Miss
Holman.
Holman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the two of you. Stand here while I read a little bit so I can tell people what this is all about. You're wearing purple as well, Miss Holman. I'm here not.
I'm sure I tried.
Colorblind?
No, not really.
Suppose you could have put that right back to me and said I could have an honor this evening wearing purple, but I don't really have a lot of
Thanks for your support.
She's retiring. She can say that. All right. Ready? Would you like to read this? No, I'm just kidding. All right. Are you ready? Well, first I'm going to give you this. So you can hold it up. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about the Purple Star School Award. The Ohio Department of Education and Workforce has selected Preston Elementary School as a Purple Star School. The Purple Star Award recognizes schools that show a major commitment to students and families connected to our nation's military. Future Forward Ohio, the state's strategic priorities for education, recognizes the importance of overcoming obstacles to learning. To be successful in school and when transitioning between school settings, Ohio's military-connected youth require support to ensure their unique wellness and academic needs are met. The Purple Star Award signifies Preston's demonstrated commitment to serving these students and families. Ohio's Purple Star Advisory Board established a set of important criteria that schools must meet to be considered for this award, and Preston has met that criteria. So we wanted to congratulate them this evening. We went to an award ceremony, Principal Brown and I, a couple of our board members were there that evening, in which they were recognized as well. So we just wanted to express our pride and thankful to all the work that you have done. So if we give a round of applause. You could tell them that story.
All right.
She has a story.
I was going to make a joke, but I'm not retiring, so I thought I'd best. At the dinner and ceremony we went to, as I was waiting for the big moment for my staff and students, and we're ready, they put up a picture of Lincoln and said, "Congratulations, Lincoln Elementary." And we were like, "Yay!" And I said, "What do we do now?" And I said, "Well, go get your certificate." And then we took a second cupcake because we deserve that.
Yes.
But no, I appreciate, thank you, Dr. Selko and the board. I appreciate this for our staff and students. They did a lot of special things and all from the heart. And what's great is, even though you get this, they keep doing it because it just feels so good to give back. So thank you very much for recognizing them.
We do have a bunch of seats right up here for people that are standing in the back. And especially if you're here for Top Tigers, you get a really good picture of your Top Tiger. So please do take a moment, come fill in these spots. I don't want you to have to stand the whole time. Right up here, we got plenty of seats for all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez.
Yeah.
And Dr. Selico, up next is our Top Tigers recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't want to start prematurely without your orders. Just so you know. Everybody gets some. It's like the splash zone over here. No one wanted. Does anybody remember the splash zone? Does anybody know what I'm talking about when I say splash zone?
Yes.
SeaWorld?
Yeah.
All right, you're all going to show about my age. Like splash zone, it's SeaWorld. Remember?
There's still SeaWorld.
There still is.
We just don't have one.
No, we don't, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
In Orlando.
All right, well, again, I'm happy to see all of you on this evening. This is our first Top Tiger evening event, so we're really excited for that. We do this once a month, starting in October. We end in May, I believe, is when we do our last one. And so each month we'll be recognizing students. So students who are here this evening, first time out, that's amazing. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Top Tiger, the awards are and what it means. So Top Tiger is an award given by our Board of Education to students from each building each month, as I mentioned. The students are chosen by various staff members in their buildings. I get the distinct honor of reading each one of those nominations. I am going to ask that when I announce the students' names, so students, you need to listen very carefully. This is the first time up, all right? So when that happens, when I call your name, you're going to come forward. You're going to stand here. Mr. Gomez, I believe, is my helper this evening. He's going to give you a number of goodies that you will hold, and then I will read about you. So you get to stand here as I read, and as everyone gets to stare at you. Now it's very, very exciting. Your family will be taking video, no pressure. So you'll be standing here, get all your goodies, and then after that, Ms. Stewart was whispering to me, usually we do a picture right here, but she said the lights are not good, so you're going to come over there. You're going to head over there to Ms. Stewart, get your picture taken. Then afterwards, we're going to have you in the cafeteria. We're going to get a group photo and some other goodies across, and you'll hear about that in just a moment. So we'll see how well we can follow those directions. If you don't get it to a T, I'll be here to help, all right? With that, there's also, so I mentioned some goodies, and I know Ms. Carlisle isn't here this evening, but Ms. Pettit is in the back raising her hand all nicely. Then Ms. Pettit, raise your hand again. There she is. She is representing our CFEA, which is our Cuyahoga Falls Teachers Association, and they were so kind to provide you with these signs. So you can put those in your yard or in a window. So we are grateful to them for that. And I love when I drive around the city, I see those in yards, and I'm like, all right, that's great. I love that you put that out there. And then I just say, I wish my kid would get one, but I'm not holding my breath on that. But that's okay. maybe my older one someday. I keep saying, Emerson, when are you going to get an award? The other one, we're and then you know my little one, so she's a fun one. She's got some small.
The school
But anyway,
She'll get a tone.
spirit.
So,
Yeah.
even and as a superintendent's kid, see, we even have struggles with our kids, so don't feel alone if you have challenges. All right, so with that, I would like to also mention that we have some generous community sponsors that are here this evening. One is our Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, and we want to thank our partners who continue in this community. We have just such generous donors and community members who support our students, so we're really super grateful for what they do for us. In our foundation this evening, we have with us Dan Argenis and Chris Schrader is here, and she's just going to speak to you for a brief moment and give you a little bit more directions and a little bit about the foundation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Schrader, and this is
Dan Argenis.
and we are trustees of the Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association. We're also proud members of the class of 1970. So we just celebrated our 55th class reunion a couple of weeks ago. The Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association is one of the sponsors of the Top Tiger Award. Each year, we award over $150,000 in student scholarships, award classroom teacher grants, and help connect alumni by assisting with class reunions and class websites. We also recognize distinguished alumni and host a recognition program and reception each May. All of our top Tigers are invited to march with us in the Memorial Day Parade, and it's a blast. So you'll hear more about that later on. Obviously, this is only October, but we really had a great turnout this past May. And tonight, after you've all been recognized, after all that's done, then as Dr. Selico said, we're going to go over to the cafeteria. There'll be a group picture, and then each of our top Tigers will be given a t-shirt, and the parent will be given a folder with some more information. On behalf of Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, we congratulate all of you top Tigers on earning this very special recognition. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, students, are you ready?
Yes.
Good job, Miss
All right,
Holman.
thanks, Ms. Holman. I don't see a whole lot of children. Okay, we're heavy over here. There's students. Okay. Don't have as many as I'm used to seeing. So, as I mentioned, this is our first Top Tiger evening, and this is also going to be another first because recently you may have heard that we've taken in our preschool program. It was previously at the Educational Service Center in Summit County, and we now have that program in our district. I was actually there today and board, just so you know, I delivered our plaque to them today, and we took a photo, so that I'll get you a picture of that you can see. So it's very exciting that we're going to have a preschooler come up here today, and we're going to start with preschool. So I'm warning you, wherever you are, my preschooler, here it is, all right? So when I call your name, come forward, please, and this is Jana Matar. Jana? You got it. You got it, girl. Good job. Nice. Right here. Everybody see her? All right. Here we go. Jana, I'm going to say some real nice things about you. You ready? Yeah. I'll take that as a yes. Okay. All right. Jana is always happy to be at school and brings such positive energy to the classroom each day. She is a kind and caring friend who feels sad when someone is absent and always hopes they are okay. During circle time, Jana is fully engaged and lights up with excitement when she gets an answer right. She is a wonderful helper who goes above and beyond to assist both teachers and younger students. Jana is a good listener with great ideas, a great friend to everyone, and a thoughtful role model who genuinely cares about others' feelings. With her kindness, enthusiasm, and leadership qualities, Jana is sure to be an amazing leader in the future. Congratulations. our preschool, we did it. Let's see if our other students, DeWitt, we're starting with you. Ready? Our next student is Khaleesi Garcia Meza. All right, if it's not, you say that because you are messing that up, okay? It's okay to say that. Khaleesi is a first grader in Mrs. Newsom's class and has a persistent smile we all love to see in class. She is kind, caring, and most recently has been an incredible friend and support to a new classmate who is non-English speaking. She has really taken this new friend under her wing and helped her to feel seen and understood. I think we all wish we had a friend as compassionate and loving as Khaleesi. All right, our next student is Alvaro Rodriguez Moreo. This evening, okay, so what we do in these instances is we reach out to the family, we offer them to come the next time, so hopefully we'll get them. All right, our next student will not be in attendance either, but I just love this name from Lincoln. It's Mickey Lukey. I love the name, and I don't think is able to be here this evening, so we'll hopefully be able to enjoy him next time. And then our next student from Lincoln is Celeste McDonald. Celeste. Celeste McDonald is Black Tiger Pride and has demonstrated impressive character throughout her years at Lincoln. She is kind, polite, respectful, and helpful with both teachers and peers. She is a model of behavior both in and out of the classroom. She is a gifted artist who always brings her own ideas and creative solutions to the lessons. She loves to challenge the lessons with her conceptual solutions. Her skills and attention to detail in her artistry bring her ideas to the next level. Celeste is also a member of Lincoln's Lunch Helper team, taking on the responsibility of keeping the cafeteria clean, safe, and running smoothly every day. That's great. The Essentials team at Lincoln is proud to nominate Celeste as one of our top Tigers. Congratulations, Celeste. All right, moving along to Preston, our next student is Jackson Adkins. Jackson is one of the most polite young men at Preston with a really big heart. He is kind to everyone he comes in contact with during the day, and he always will be found helping someone. Jackson is a very hard worker, and he is not afraid to ask for help when he needs it. Great. This has helped Jackson show tremendous growth while at Preston, and we can't wait to see how well he does this year. Congratulations, Jackson. Keep up the great work. Our other student, Trinity Howard, is also unable to be here tonight, just making sure that she doesn't come in. Okay, so congratulations to her as well. All right, moving along to Price, we have Grace Brunton. Grace brings a constant sense of sunshine to her classes, and her remarkable positivity pairs beautifully with her endless patience and persistence. She is never afraid to face a challenge, and she is willing to put in the effort to learn from and overcome mistakes. Since coming to Price as a third grader, Grace has made enormous progress in her academics, and it has been a joy to watch her confidence and ability grow. She is a shining example of a student who demonstrates a powerful dedication to her own growth while also serving as a kind and compassionate role model for others, consistently helping younger students and truly embodying the spirit of a top Tiger. Congratulations. All right, our other student from Price is Erin Ramon. Not here this evening. All right. Moving along now to Richardson, our first student is Corbin Lynch. Corbin, oh, there he is. All right, Corbin, you ready? All right, Corbin is a natural leader, not through a loud or commanding presence, but through his positive example. He's the first to help a classmate who is struggling, whether it's with showing them the example again or just displaying Black Tiger pride to help the group achieve more. Just one example is how he leads others through being on Richardson's safety patrol team this year. We've often seen him quietly mentoring others, offering encouragement and guidance without seeking any recognition for himself. Corbin's character is truly a testament to his dedication to doing the right thing. He is a person of great honor, and we have no doubt that he will continue to achieve great things in all his future endeavors. Congratulations. All right, our next student at Richardson is Areen Williams. All right, Areen has been picked as a top Tiger for many of her outstanding traits. Areen may be quiet, but leads her peers just by showing up, pitching in, and showing Black Tiger pride in and around the school. Areen is an exceptional student who consistently demonstrates outstanding academic ability, maturity, and a quiet yet powerful intellectual curiosity. Beyond academics, Areen is a model of good character while fulfilling her duties on safety patrol, as well as being the star on the stage during several of her theatrical performances. She is exceptionally kind, respectful, and always willing to help peers and teachers. I have observed her on numerous occasions helping a classmate who was struggling with a concept, doing so with patience and without seeking recognition. This quiet leadership and integrity makes Areen a person of great influence in our classroom community. That's great. Thank you. Good All right. Our next school is, who's following along? Silver Lake. All right, we're just went in alphabetical order. No special trick there. Our next student is Maram Hamiri. Well, hello. How are you? Okay. Good. Did I say your name right? Okay, how do you say it? Maram. Okay, so I did. All right, thanks. All right. All right, Maram, just stay right there. Maram is a pleasure to have in our classes. She is quick to volunteer, kind to others, and helpful. Maram always participates to the best of her abilities and encourages her peers to do so as well. She does everything with a smile on her face. She is always willing to help and is a joy to be around. That's lovely. Our next student from Silver Lake is Elijah Snyder. Elijah? You made your way. That's good. You were all the way in the back. It's like a maze, huh? Good job. All right, Elijah. All right. Elijah Snyder is a sweet and quiet boy who is a great addition to our classes. All right. Okay, I like that. I didn't see shy on there, so we're in good shape. All right, so he is helpful, encouraging, and participates to the best of his abilities. Elijah shows Black Tiger pride every day and leads by example. He is a great listener and a kind friend to his peers. Excellent, Elijah. I love it. Love the spunk. All right. Our next school we're moving to, now typically we would go to Bolick and then Roberts, but since we have combined, we are now one middle school and we have students that we are going to name from our middle school. So our first one is Lauren Hallahan. Thank you. Congratulations. Right. to staff and students at school. She is always on time for class and eager to learn and participate. Lauren is great at adapting to changes or adversity in the classroom and never allows a problem to stand in her way without finding a solution, and continues to work, learn, and grow from whatever may be challenging her that day. Lauren is very creative and is willing to share her knowledge and ideas with her peers in class. She is a wonderful example of what Black Tiger Pride in the classroom should look like, and treats each day as a new opportunity to learn and to achieve success in whatever she sets her mind to here at Cuyahoga Falls Middle School. All right, our next student is Addison Petrie. So I go by Addie? Yeah. Okay, all right. Addie is a truly remarkable student who shines in every aspect of her life. Her straight A average is a clear reflection of her exceptional work ethic and dedication to her studies. But her commitment doesn't stop there. She also excels in a wide range of extracurriculars, including choir, exploration of art, and multiple sports, all while balancing a demanding schedule of honors classes. Addie's peers chose her to be a team captain, a testament to her strong leadership skills. She's a natural leader who inspires others by setting a positive example and showing genuine empathy. She consciously chooses kindness, holding back any unkind thoughts, and consistently bringing out the best in her teammates. We all have them at some time, don't we? Let's just be honest, right? Yeah. Okay. She's not just focused on her own success, she works hard to lift up those around her too. It's no surprise that her teachers feel the same way. When asked about Addie, they had nothing but praise, calling her awesome and one of the best. Great job, Addie. Keep it up. Congratulations. All sorts of these. All right. Our last but not least, our eldest students from Cuyahoga Falls High School. Our first student is Trin Hinkle. I know this person. How you doing? Good, thank you. One of my Soups Troop students. Trin, throughout their high school career, they faced immense challenges with a resilience that has been nothing short of remarkable. Despite the adversity, they never wavered in their commitment to achieving excellence in all they do. As a talented musician, they have participated in performances with the Gold Tones Jazz Orchestra, Symphonic Band, and the Tiger Marching Band. As an actor, they've dedicated their talents to productions of the Fall Play, the One Act Play Festival, which is coming up in next week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks and 3 weeks.
Fall play is coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, yeah, see, I'm giving you a plug. The Crucible, someone may have a main role in that. You would also be hard-pressed to find a music or drama course that Trin has not taken. They have accomplished all of this while leading by example with humility and grace. Trin has been a role model, an example of resilience and strength for both teachers and classmates. Their journey is a powerful testament to the fact that it isn't just about what you achieve, but about how you rise above your struggles to accomplish your goals. We are all so very proud of Trin and are grateful for their tremendous contribution to the music and theater programs at Cuyahoga Falls High School. Congratulations. All right, and our last student of the evening is Moth Nichols. See, it is quite a maze to get up here from back there. Congratulations. Okay. This student's unusual combination of passion, talent, joyful spirit, and tenacity is as unique as their namesake. Moth Nichols is not your typical garden variety student. You know who wrote this, right? Ms. Schulman. Anyone who knows Ms. Schulman, it's very colorful. She's a very good writer and very creative. Like our Moth, they don't hide in the shadows. They are unapologetically and boldly themselves, sharing their unique personality and joyful spirit. Whenever they see another student confused, lost, or with questions in class or elsewhere, they are the first to jump in to help. Over their high school career, they have faced obstacles which have approached head-on, not just overcoming them, but using them to make themselves stronger and more resilient. Just as the moth is drawn to light, Moth Nichols is relentlessly drawn to challenging themselves in art and beyond to learn as much as they can. With this mindset, they have dedicated their senior year to college classes on campus at Kent State University. Moth uses their leadership skills and outstanding confidence as a force for change, inspiring those around them to be more creative, more confident, and more willing to find the answers they seek. Moth Nichols will undoubtedly make a positive mark on our world and all those in their surrounding as they strive to transform it. The CFHS Art Department is forever changed for the better because we had the most incredible moth tapping on our studio lights for these past years. You gotta tell her this. She did a good job. The tapping will be greatly missed when our moth takes her graduation flight. We are proud to recognize Moth Nichols as a top tiger. All right, with that, I would like to acknowledge just a few people, well, not just a few, there's more than a few, but those of you who are staff, members of our Cuyahoga Falls staff that have come to appreciate and show your pride in all of our Black Tiger students. Why don't you just raise your hand so you can get recognized. We appreciate you being here. And to our parents and families, again, I always say it's no coincidence that students come up here and get recognized. That doesn't just happen overnight. That's with your guidance and what you are doing with your children, which we know is not an easy task of raising our students, especially in these days. And you have all done a remarkable job. And the themes that we hear about the students, and it's just common themes that continue to hear with each student, right? Resilience and leadership and kindness and respect, all wonderful qualities that we want to see in our students here. So thank you for helping us get there. And with that, we are going to have pictures across the hall. So if you, and also those of you who recognize our Purple Star School and Ms. Carr, you're going to also get your picture across the hall. So again, thank you to all of you. Let's have a round of applause for all of you.
Next is our boundary lines presentation by Miss Marjorie Johnson. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I just want to say that in doing these boundaries, there's literally a million ways you can do this. It's very difficult because you can draw the lines any direction, and it changes things drastically very quickly. So I came up with three scenarios just to show you. This is very preliminary, just to show you what could be. So the first slide, Ryan. So the slide on the right shows our current boundaries. I can't tell you when they were written. I know that they have been this way longer than 10 years, which is how long I've been here. I don't know who came up with them or how long it's been that way. So on the left is the first scenario I came up with. Changing the boundaries means, and closing a school means shifting everything. And so because you change a line on the right, it changes everything on the left. And it may shift one way or the other depending on where children live. So the next slide shows, those are all of our children. So you can see there's some places where there are no children at all. And then there's other places where there's lots of children. And so anytime you move any one of those lines, you could encompass as many as 20 children. And just because you see one dot doesn't mean there are not several underneath of it. So when you have 10 kids on the right that you move, and then you see another 10 kids on the left that you move, it's not a matter of just moving 10 kids. It's a shift. It's a shift of the lines. Underneath all of that, you have to take into your grade factors. So we don't know what grade all those children are in. And so you can't overwhelm a school with all fifth graders or all kindergartners. So it's a very big balancing act. So I just showed this slide so that you could see all the children and where they're located. So even though where Price is right now Preston is down in the green area, and of course that school will be gone. So all the Price is up high. A lot of those Preston kids will then be shifting up to Price. On the next slide gives you all the grade levels, how many will be affected at each one of the schools. Dr. Selico, I don't know how in depth you want me to go here.
I think I would just say that, and I know it's really small print. Is there any way to blow that up?
I got these big ones.
So, and you have these in front of you. It's essentially it's by grade level, and then it shows, so that each school is designated DeWitt, Lincoln, you see Preston, those are the three schools that are up there. And it'll show you what school each of them will be going to, right? So I think
Yes,
I would
and it shows how many will be affected and how many will be shifting. Now, these numbers also, clear to the right, and I don't know how well you can see it, clear to the right also tells you a projection of kindergartners. Now, we don't know. I have rolled all of our kids for the next school year, except for our incoming, we have some preschoolers, but we don't know what our kindergartners will be. So all I can do is guesstimate based on, the past couple of years and hope that they stay somewhere around there. Now, this year we had a very big influx at DeWitt of kindergartners. You don't know when that's going to happen. Every once in a while, you just get an abnormally large class, and then there's a lot of more shifting that you have to do to compensate for that. And the next slide is just the other three schools then, and what their projections are by grade, and how many will move accordingly.
So if I may, one of the things, I know Margie said it, but just to reiterate, on that far right column, what we did is I had her use the numbers that are current, based on kindergarten enrollment today. So 3 sections at most of the schools. The smaller schools have 2 sections, and we based them on the 22 max. So that's how we arrived at those extra students. And again, we don't know how. Kindergarten threw us for a loop this year with the late enrollments, and just bam, just at the end there, which is why we had to add sections. But that's how you arrive at that number. So when you see in the first example for DeWitt, 352 is actually, so even though it looks like 293, you have to add in those 59.
Correct. Okay, so the next slide is scenario number 2.
Can we go
Now-
back to that? So you say you gotta add, you have
So
to
the numbers-
add
Yes, the numbers
from the
that are there.
293, but that doesn't make sense because how would you add any to price, which is already at capacity on the left side?
Which
So
is
you
why
have,
I
we have
did
to
the
add
next-
to the 293 on DeWitt. You can't add any to the price. So I'm assuming kindergarten's included in what we're given. Because if it's not, then none of this wouldn't work because price is already at capacity. This
Well,
is what
and-
I'm looking at, that you're
Yeah.
using.
Oh, over there on
DeWitt's at
those numbers,
293,
yes.
price
Yes.
at 293. That's the capacity for price. So these have to include kindergarten, or this scenario is not
Right.
possible.
Which one? So let me
This
look
is
at the
scenario 1.
Yes.
So scenario 1,
If
that's
these
right,
numbers
Anthony.
do not include kindergarten, this is not a possible
Yeah.
scenario.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, no, I'm asking you.
No,
'cause-
she's gonna explain. I think you were gonna explain it, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
And that's why this was the very first scenario we came with and we came up with. And after adding in the kindergartners, you're right, there's too many. That's why I went on to the second scenario to try to even the numbers out, because you're right, that one's at capacity, and as far as I'm concerned, Lincoln numbers are too high because that's gonna throw them over 400, and so that's the reason for coming up with the next scenario, to try to even out those numbers more.
And I asked Margie to stay as close to 400 or less for purposes of being manageable for one principal. So 400 was kind of the number we wanted to stay at without having to add additional support.
Well, then scenario,
Some
You
of them don't
think-
work, you'll see, Mr. Gomez, yeah.
scenario
you're right.
3 is probably not gonna work either. Because you have price at 242. How are you gonna have?
Price at 242?
And you have, I mean, how do any of these scenarios work when you include kindergarten at price?
I didn't do the maps, so when you did the maps, Margie, did you include, is kindergarten factored in there,
No,
your totals?
no, not,
Okay.
So you have 248 at price in scenario 2, capacity is 293. In scenario 3, it's at 242, capacity is still at 293. So how is that really workable when you include kindergarten? You gotta assume at least 40 kids.
Yeah, they're on here, how many you have to assume, at price?
Yeah.
You assume 25. Because, so what's uneven, if you will, here, is that not every, so what we did is, as Margie mentioned, she took the preschoolers. So for example, Price happens to have, they might have a lot of preschoolers that are at their school. So it's all different. Some preschoolers, there's more at one elementary than there are others. So that's why it's uneven, that you'll see different numbers for the kindergarten added in. They're not all gonna be the same. I'm trying to see one example I can give you.
Can I get clarification just on one more with the scenarios? With the current boundaries and the current enrollment on the scenarios of current boundaries, and it says like Lincoln's at 342, does that include open enrollment and intra? And is
it
that?
does not. None of
It
these
does not,
include,
none of it includes intra
No.
or intra, okay,
no.
thank you.
I guess my other concern too is we said that we're gonna post this on our website, and if it's this confusing getting the explanation, how do we expect our community to like understand these scenarios, that we were given scenario 1, but don't look at that because we know that that doesn't work, None of that's in this presentation. So how do we expect our community who's going to read this presentation online tomorrow to understand any of this information when it's not in what we're given? When we're just going to say, hey, the presentation's online, go look at it, they're going to be reacting to the PowerPoint that we post online, and none of this information's in the presentation. How is that going to be helpful information for our community to receive when we know that this is such a hot topic?
Can we add to the scenario signs, like price $248, and then put plus so many X kindergartners equals
Yes.
on
Yes.
these presentations?
We certainly can do that. My
That way they're
understanding
more
of
clear.
tonight's presentation, we were very clear that this would not be a final draft. This is just a working document to get the conversation started, to take a stab at some scenarios to show you the differences. Margie, has shared with me that we went over a number of scenarios that wouldn't work, some that could work. So this is by no means, this was our first stab. I shared with you that in a couple weeks' time, we wouldn't be able to solve this problem, or this situation, like, fully, that there's some decent things to work from this scenario. So that was my understanding. I didn't think we could promise you a final product at this time.
Well, I guess the other frustration I have too is that we were given these in advance to look at, and we weren't told that scenario 1 was not a workable scenario. I mean, we all invested our time into trying to understand these. It would have been helpful to know not to look at that one, because you were giving us a scenario that you knew didn't work. And that information wasn't provided to us either.
Okay, Margie, do you want to continue on just and see if we can tackle them one by one? Because I don't want to get too far ahead where we're too lost. So you want...
So I apologize. I started this, and I was giving you all the information that I had in the beginning till now. I knew after doing the numbers with one that it needed to be reworked, which is why I did the second scenario. The second scenario does work. It, some of our schools are going to be close to capacity because we're closing a school. So, I mean, we will have to be careful, and we'll have to be very careful on how many we put at each school. The second scenario, the numbers, because I wasn't comfortable with the first one, with how full the numbers were, that's why we did the second one. The third one, I put together because I was asked, what things look like to try to put more numbers at Silver Lake. So that's what the third one was. But again, these were all, as I understood, was all preliminary at a starting point, not a finishing point.
I appreciate how, I know that this is a lot of work to do and to go into this, and that that these aren't final numbers, and that it's going to take a lot to get to where we need to be with this, and I know that it was in a short amount of time to do it. So I do appreciate everything that you've put to get this together for us.
Do you want to talk a little bit about, when I had asked you about, like today, for example, the scenario 3 with, I'm just going to point out the Silver Lake, that little part pass was at Route 8 on the west side?
Yes.
Yeah, and how that, because this scenario differs. If you look, Silver Lake is still so low in enrollment on the other two, 200, and this is the one that gets it to 245. I mean, that's one thing, if you want to point out why that is.
It keeps all its current boundaries and takes on more.
Yeah.
Right, taking on a little bit of Price, which Price taking on, more of Preston. Again, in the second scenario versus the third scenario, I only have one school that's jumping from one side of, I use Route 8 kind of as your center point. So only my thought process is DeWitt taking the one portion of the city which is around Hunters Lake, and beyond there we have one more little burg that we go to. My thought process is that's easy for a bus to go down there, grab those kids, hop back on, go down Howe and hop back on the highway and get back over. Whereas when you're talking about Silver Lake or Price, you're going back up through the city, you're going back up through Bailey and Hudson, across the tracks, and that's time consuming. That's time, you know. So my thought process is DeWitt is the most logical, it's easy access to the highway. So that's where my mind goes. When you have Silver Lake crossing over, Price crossing over, then you're adding time to buses going back and forth between the town.
I appreciate all the work you did, Margie, I really do, because I know it's not easy, so I want you to know I appreciate the work you did. That's not where my frustrations lie, so I appreciate you, Margie.
Thank you.
It looks like in scenario 2 that DeWitt is possibly, if I'm adding correctly, that DeWitt would be over in scenario 2. I'm sorry, no, I'm reading current, Kevin, it's not over capacity. I'm sorry, I was reading what their current enrollment was.
Scenario 2 works for all.
It does. But scenario 3 is what brings Silver Lake more in line with capacity,
Yes, but,
percentage capacity,
Yeah.
as opposed to like with the rest of the buildings.
yeah, I think, Margie, you had mentioned that you took some issue with, I think you made it a previous board meeting, that Silver Lake area, that you would not have put, you don't recommend this, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. That again, because you're going across town, and it just that extra little piece, and that's on scenario 3, Ryan. Just that extra little piece to the left adds time going across town. And again, it has to do with drive time through the city. It's not as easy, like I was talking about, straight down Howell Road. Now you have the 6 corners there that's very busy, but once you are through there, you can hop right on the highway, so it's fast. And whereas going through the city, stopping at railroad crossings, we have buses stopped every day at the tracks.
Ryan, if you could go to the map, we'll just take scenario 3 is fine, with the dots. So one of the things that I want to point out, actually Ms. Wyckoff and I were talking about this today, so if you look at where, I'm just going to use Price as an example, right, in the pink, that's Price?
Yes.
So where that's located, if you look at where the dots are, you'll see that the obvious question for a parent, if I'm a parent, I would be saying, my gosh, I live so close to Price, but yet you have me going to Silver Lake. So I want to point those things out, that those are things that I know I would be questioning as a parent. And yes, there's some that are a mile or less to Price that'll be going, a couple miles to Silver Lake. So those are also some things that we noted. I want to point that out in full transparency, that we noted. Same thing happens, I guess south, DeWitt, you see that kind of happens over there in that far corner.
Do you want to use my pointer?
Look at you. I think people were following me, but we can try that. Thank you. Is it, what's your?
The buttons on the phone. With the red one on the top.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's way up there. Whoa.
Oh, is it not working good? I'm sorry.
Maybe I don't know if I'm too far. It's showing somewhere. There.
It's on the ceiling, yep.
There it is. Okay.
Oh,
So
sorry,
what
it's
I'm
not a
referring to is
quality
here's the
pointer.
school, and so
It's a cat toy.
students here are real folks. We are wanting to send them, to Silver Lake. Same thing over here with the clusters. What you're saying is Preston, right? Preston? Make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know this isn't in play, but the wind is over here. You have this far reach over here, heading here, as opposed to here, a little bit closer. there might be some other uses. Those, that's the most obvious, I think. Look at this. Here too, maybe. Am I right, there, Margie, with this here, this is going to Lincoln?
Yes,
It's awfully close to Lincoln.
they are, but not, there's a,
Is it because of this,
that's,
what I was saying?
Route 8.
And that's the current boundary too.
It is, yes.
So I just wanted to point that out. You may have noticed that yourselves, but thank you.
Sorry, that wasn't as high quality as I thought.
Doesn't project that far, but that's okay.
So in scenario 3, other than the obvious students from Preston, being affected, looks like DeWitt would be the most affected
Yeah,
students?
I think we did decide that DeWitt would be mostly impacted, Margie, is
I
that
think
correct?
DeWitt's gonna be the most impacted no matter what. Yeah.
Because it's centralized and that's what's carved out and
Because it's on the other side of Preston, and so you're gonna have to shift the most, both to and from DeWitt.
Its current boundaries touch every other school's boundaries. One of my other questions is the shuffling of kids. So like, for instance, you have, in scenario 3, you have 18 kids from DeWitt going to Price, but then you have 8 kids who are at Price going to DeWitt. And then you have 5 kids from Lincoln going to Price, and then 4 kids from Price going to Lincoln. It just seems to me that we could refine that better so that those kids aren't interrupted, because it would seem that we could find the space for those kids. It's 5, it's 4. Like, the numbers kind of are balancing more. And
But they're not, Anthony. It appears that way, but again, it has to do with lines. So you might be taking those 5 from up here, and then the other ones are from down here. So it appears that way, but it's not really. It's not a matter of just moving the kids. It's where the lines are going. If that doesn't make sense.
I mean, I'm willing to look at all these little lines because I think it's worthwhile. If we can find little spots where we can not impact some of these students, I think it's worthwhile, because they're going to these schools now, so we're making it work in the lines that we have. So that's something I asked Dr. Selico about, if we can get like more detailed images of where lines would be changing, so we can better understand that, to see those sorts of things. I think that's important, because it's hard when you look at the numbers to make it make sense. So unless I can see the lines in detail, no, it doesn't make sense to me.
Do you have a suggestion for that, Margie? I don't know,
I mean, the only thing I can do is have you come see what it entails and how just shifting a line a little bit can grab, like I said, it can grab as many as 20 kids. Just shifting it a tiny, one road over. And you may have 20 kids on this street, and you may only have 5 on this street, and so it's not, they're not equal. You don't get to pick where the clusters of kids live.
But if there's a way to like get more detailed picture than this, then we could at least see that. But it's very hard to see on here even where the streets are, to be able to see that, to justify making those sorts of decisions that are going to impact this many families.
I mean, I can blow it up as big as you want, but that's a lot. That's, when you blow a map up big enough to read, you're going to be talking hundreds of images.
what happens if you span out on this? I don't think we did that when I was there. Like, if you span out, you know, like just if you were to take your fingers on a screen and you zoom,
Right.
how they would come
Yeah.
into focus.
Mhm.
Can that be done here? I mean,
Mhm.
even if we had to put them on big sheets or
Yes.
something.
Mhm.
So scenario one does not work, so we just kind of disregard that one.
Yeah, not as far as
Okay.
I'm concerned, it doesn't. I mean,
So-
again, these are rough drafts, so you
Yes,
could take
yes.
scenario one and
And
shift
make it,
things,
yeah,
you know,
but,
if that was, you know, something you were more leaning towards.
okay, well,
Scenario two
is,
is what I think is
The
your
best
best
one.
option right now. And again, with, you can tweak it any way you
Mm-hmm.
want to, but I think it is the most logical.
okay. It would help me, because I'm very spatially challenged, to, if we could take map 2 and kind of see through somehow to map 3, so I kind of see where the boundaries, it's really hard to tell, for me, anyway. I don't know if that would help anybody else, but it might help me a little bit more. I don't want to draw lines myself, because then I'll, you know, but, okay. Just a suggestion. If there's some way you can put, you know, map 2 over map 3 to make it kind of, you know, I don't know.
I mean, my program.
Yeah, like an overlay type thing, but I'm not sure if you can do that.
Would it help you, Miss White, if on the scenario one,
Well, forget
maybe
one.
just highlighted in yellow what has changed
Maybe, yeah,
on
maybe
each
I could.
boundary?
Yeah, or
So you
something.
know, like,
Right.
which,
Yeah, because
Instead of-
again, I'm spatially,
instead of
I'm
being,
not good
like,
at
on top of
directions
each
and
other,
very spatially.
it
Yeah,
would show
something like that.
what boundaries were changed.
Yeah, just, because I think scenario 2 somewhat works, and then scenario 3 would somewhat work, although I think I see what you're getting at. They'd have to cross the tracks
Yep.
and 59, or
Right.
Route 8, yeah.
Right.
So that's the current boundary as well,
Yeah,
so just keep
yeah,
that in mind too.
yeah, that's true. So, okay. Yeah, I could maybe highlight that. I didn't think of
And they're gonna have to cross the tracks
that.
with
Yeah, they are. I
Preston
know.
closed for the
Yep, yeah,
kids
it's
going
true.
to DeWitt
DeWitt.
from Preston. They'll have to cross the
Yeah,
tracks
they would
anyway.
anyway.
I mean, that's gonna add tracks either way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, these are just very, you know, these are rough drafts of getting everything together in a short amount of time. I guess my question would be to you, Dr. Selico, when do boundaries need to be decided upon for next school year, for families and for all the other reasons that we need to decide them, enrollment and
I mean-
kindergarten enrollment and.
Yeah, I think personally, and I know we're working on, you're probably, I don't know if you are, probably started the routes for the new school, but I would say by, and I don't know, Margie, if this is reasonable, but I would like to have it by the end of this calendar year, so people could plan and have an idea in their minds. I mean, I think parents would appreciate that, I see parents out there, but sooner rather than later. And I think if we're this close now, we already have drafts, I think that's a reasonable thing that we could probably accomplish. It's not me doing the work, so it's easy for me to say. But I think that would be fair to parents, and that would fall in line with other things that we have to put into place yet as the new year starts and the new campus and all of that, so. I think that would be a reasonable request.
And then I guess my question for you would be, if you took feedback from the board, realistically, we know you have a lot going on with the 6 through 12 campus and all of that stuff coming up for transportation too. If we can get together what the board needs to move forward and see, when would you be able to have that for us to have a decision at the end of December? Or December?
I would say mid-November. I've got a big report that I should have already started. That's due at the end of next week.
The T1.
Yep,
Okay.
correct.
So possibly the second meeting in November, then we'd be able to.
That's the
Yes.
20, is it the 22nd?
No, the 12th and the 19th. We meet in
Right, because of
November.
Thanksgiving,
Yep, 19,
but then we only have one meeting in December,
we do.
so.
We're gonna have we'll have a pretty heavy agenda. We have a couple big items
Yeah.
to discuss on that, but if you're able, 19th, is that reasonable?
Yep.
And then are you saying put it on the December, so you wanna see it on November 9th here? I'm sorry, 19th here?
November 19th.
You wanna see a presentation
okay.
here again?
Just a short presentation of,
Okay.
there's questions from the board that we can get to Margie and then have feedback on and then have discussion on and then have it back on the agenda in December. Does that sound for final, or do you think November
December
19th
5th?
for everything?
December 10th?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's a reasonable time frame. I mean, the only thing I would suggest and say is that we get feedback, we'll have to share along the way, since we only have a couple of meetings,
Right.
that we could look at drafts, and if we could have a very specific list of questions or things you want Margie to take into consideration when looking at this, now that you've seen a couple scenarios and see how it's working, then she could, even if it's you want her to come here again and do a demonstration, like if that's gonna be helpful. Cause like someone had mentioned, maybe Margie, like, there might be other dots under here that you don't see, because one dot represents, there's many children in there that you just can't have that many dots.
Right.
So, that.
Well,
could
it also can represent a family.
Yeah,
um,
that's true too.
There could be a family with 5 or 6 kids,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
or an apartment complex that has 15 kids.
I think we should also consider, if DeWitt is the building that's being impacted the most, following the example we set, having meetings at Preston and Price, consider having a meeting at DeWitt if those are the families that are gonna be most impacted, obviously, other than the Preston families. We should consider potentially having a meeting at DeWitt, to make sure that those families are as aware as we can make them able, if it is going to most impact them. So I would put that out for consideration as well.
For the presentation, or prior to the presentation, after the presentation?
We'd have to see when we can make it happen. I'm putting out for consideration. I mean, it's kind of the example we set, was
Yeah, me too.
trying to make sure that those that would be most impacted by possible decision, we would go out to try to make it most convenient for them to receive the information. So I think it's something that we should consider.
I'm agreeable to that.
I would be agreeable to that, to showing them and presenting them. What I would not want to happen is to have that meeting and not have an accurate picture of what we were doing, to where the impression was that this is set in stone and we're worrying families, or families think their child may go here, but they're actually gonna go here. I would wanna be very careful that we actually had, what we were doing set in, to a point where that misinformation wasn't taken away, because no matter how much we say they're drafts, they're going to take it as, my child's gonna go to this school, because they see it on a map in a
Yeah.
presentation.
I agree with what you said to an extent. It has to be a balance, because if we want feedback, you also can't have it be set in stone when you're asking for feedback, because then we're not really considering what they have to say.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I understand. I'm just putting that out along with it to make sure that we have,
Okay, so I might have not followed, so I'm clear. So the DeWitt meeting would be to allow families to have feedback or questions, or what would be they would have an opportunity to express concerns, questions, give feedback, just so I'm following.
And to make sure that they're as informed as we can make them be, if we're saying that they'll be the most impacted by any scenario.
So we go in there with a draft, and willing to hear questions, concerns.
I am the first one to say that we need to be open and go to the community and be there and inform them and be at the meetings and all the things. that's been my stance throughout the past 4 years. What I don't want is the impression of there are some decisions as a district that need to be made for the good of the district and the students. And there are some things that I don't want the community necessarily, there are some decisions that have to be made. And they have to be made, and not that I don't want to hear feedback, but there are things that just are that have to be done. And what I wouldn't want is the impression of us coming in. I would not want them to have the impression that they're going to come in and they're going to vastly change what our district lines are going to be based. If you're in, I hope I'm saying that correctly.
That's where I was sort of going with it. I mean, I work similarly. If we're going, for example, we put a survey out to people, I would want, I know as a person who fills out a survey, I would want to believe that you're taking that input because you still haven't made up your mind and that you're willing to do that. But if we are going to take suggestions and feedback, then I would hope that we would then be able to make some changes based on the feedback we gave. And I just don't know if that's possible, so I just want to be clear and open about that. I don't want to mislead people, like you said. That's why I was asking the question, because I don't know if that's possible. Because once we start tinkering, and I mean, that just sounds a little bit unrealistic. But if that's the direction we go, that's fine. But I want to be forthcoming with parents of what this meeting really is.
I think it depends on how you present. When we had our meetings at Preston and Price, we didn't present it in such a way that closing Richardson was an option because it wasn't on the table. So you just have to be clear about what's possible and what's not possible. Just like we were before. Why we're where we are, what has been decided, what hasn't been decided. I think that worked before. We were pretty clear. What had been decided was it was going to be one of these two buildings. What had not been decided was what building it was going to be. So what has been decided are boundary lines are changing. Seems like DeWitt is going to be most impacted. And here's what, I mean, we don't know what we're going to be presenting because it doesn't seem like we're there yet. But I think it behooves us to do the hard work of getting out there to the parents as best we can.
Would it be an informational night? Say, here's where we are, these are our scenarios that we're looking at. What would be the expectation, do you think?
Well, we don't know. We could have two scenarios that we're looking at.
Right.
So then they might be offering feedback on two possible scenarios. We really don't know with where we're at, but we know we're not meeting again as a board until November 12th. And as of right now, we're not talking about this again until November 19th, so that's a whole month, and a lot could change in that time. So to try to plan what that's going to be tonight, when we're not even planning to talk about this as a board for a month, I think is unfair.
I hear what you're saying, Ms. Coco. If there's really like one scenario that's gonna feasibly work, and then we go to DeWitt and say, hey, here's what we're doing, and people think that there's gonna be like some choices to be made, and there's really not choice made, that would be kind of mean to present it as like maybe we can make choices and there's not. But if there are options for feedback, then I would like to present it for parents to provide feedback. But at this point, I don't know if there are choices to be made, if there are more than one options that are going to be feasible for.
But either way, I think it behooves us to have that meeting and try to do every effort to inform those families that will be most impacted, whether this is what it's going to be or, hey, there's two options that it might be. And if the board's making the decision, we might as well do it as a board meeting and own the decision.
Well, we do have two scenarios that would work, correct? Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So,
And just because you have a scenario that doesn't work at one school doesn't mean it can't be moved
yeah,
to
I
adjust.
understand. But yeah, I'd rather keep it to 2, it's easier.
I agree, I'm,
It's just
that's
easier to
exactly what I
kinda,
was thinking, was you don't wanna keep presenting
too
more
many.
and more and more
Right,
and more. Because
exactly.
just moving the lines one street, it's very time consuming.
So may I suggest that, let's work off of the 2 that we have. Let's just make that assumption for a moment, board, if you would, and then
Number 2 and number 3.
look at those, and then if you could, and you don't need to do this evening, but if you wanna let me know what items, looking at those 2, are important to you, or what doesn't look right, or what you would like to see teased out a little bit more, or what questions you have based on those 2 scenarios, that would kinda help refine our, direction in which we can go, and, cause I just wanna be clear and make sure that we're answering your questions and concerns. And then, Margie can play with that, and we can even send drafts back and forth as you look until we get to that November 19th meeting.
If there's a line you wanna see, and you wanna see it blown up, I can do a screenshot of that and send it to you.
Is that agreeable with everyone? And then, if we're going to look at a date with DeWitt, I would think it would almost need to be in between November 19th and December 10th then, from a presentation here. If we're not presenting it as this is what it is and this is what we've decided, it would be after December 10th. If it was not being presented that way, then it would need to be before December 10th. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah. Those are 2 busy weeks in between those 2, I just looked at them.
Yeah. Very much so.
And because the question was raised, can we just have clarity about, so we're going to post this on our website, is that what I'm hearing, along with the audio, I think is what we did last time?
You said in your all call that it would be posted on the website.
Yeah.
So we could, take some of these, like, we can put some narrative to this, to clear up, maybe some of those questions, because, and we can act, well, we'll put scenario 1 in, and we'll say why it doesn't work, so people can at least see it, and then we'll put these other ones, and we'll just, where's Ms. Stewart anyway? Maybe you can work with me on, work on some of these. Yeah.
Editing to make
Right.
it ADA compliant too, before we put it up there.
My biggest suggestion for sharing it would just be on the scenarios, like scenario 2, put
Kindergartners. Yeah.
337 plus 56
Yep.
kindergartners equals total, instead of just on those other pages.
Yep.
That way when the community's looking at it, they can see what the actual total people,
I can do that.
students
too.
would be.
Yeah.
I think that would clear up a lot of confusion on it to do it that way. Don't trust my addition.
I was just looking at
Should
that.
people still expect it to be posted tomorrow?
No.
Did you guys say it would be posted the next day?
I can't make it
No, I know you
ADA
won't.
compliant
No.
by tomorrow.
When can they expect it so we can let people know?
Hey, don't look at me, this is
Well, I don't know
You gotta
what
tell me.
all needs to be shared, like you said, you wanted to do an audio, like.
No, the audio would be
explanation.
this, but,
Okay.
no, I don't, on my end, it's not much to do.
Friday, if there are no fires that pop up. By the end of the day on Friday.
We could get together tomorrow.
Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. That brings us to item E, Treasurer CFO's Business Consent Agenda. Ms. Stokely.
I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve all items listed in the treasurer's consent agenda.
So moved.
A few things on here. So we have minutes, we have amended appropriations. It's it's the 524, so we received our actual allotment for the federal grant we received. We get it through the 6th district for one of our employees. So they sent us the exact amount. It was a little bit more than what we had anticipated, so that's increased just a little bit. The transfer, I had sent you guys previously an email, but just to clarify one more time. So we are just transferring in between special cost centers. It's all still staying in the building fund. But when we first received the COPS, we just kind of put it all in like the one special cost center and pulled a little bit out for the stadium, not really knowing at the time, because the project was still in the earlier stages, how much we would need in each one, dependent on different, any of the number of things that we've done or change orders. And so it turns out there's where we're transferring it from is, this is where it gets confusing, is the LFI that is associated with the building. So what OFCC considers integral LFI. It's still all of our funds, but it's because the auditorium is LFI, like they can't, we still have to do some of it where we pay LFI for like, they can't say this square feet and this touches this, this pipe touches this, so I report that stuff even though they don't necessarily care about the funds, but we have to report it. The stadium stuff has nothing to do with that. It doesn't go through the same processes as the other funds. So we don't need as much in that, what is going through the state in OFCC, in their system called OAKS. So we're gonna move some of it out, to our stadium fund, which kind of gives us a little bit more flexibility in, if something comes up or if we need anything. We've run into a couple of just different things. The digital scoreboards came out of that way back when, and things like that we've purchased that are a little bit bigger for the new campus. So if any of those situations arise, that there's enough in there to take care of that. Purpose statements, purpose and budget, so there's a whole bunch of them. But this is the same thing we do every year. So these are all of our student activities and our principal accounts, and some of our local grant accounts. Most of them are GAR funded. So this is just their goals and kind of a description of what these funds are used for and what their group does, and then what they think they'll bring in revenue and what they think they'll bring in expenses. So these are kind of like mini versions of budgets that we do in each department. So it's kind of that same zero-based type thing, that the expenses that are listed on this sheet is what we use as their budget for the year. So whatever their expenses are, that's what gets budgeted for the year. And then finally, donations. We have a number of them all across the district, many different places, but we've got a lot. We always appreciate those. American Legion, DAR, which I'm sure that has something to do with Peggy. The credit union, some Amazon wish list, lots of stuff. So appreciate it.
So I was jealous. Preston Elementary School, they got a lot of Taco Bell, free Taco Bell.
I saw them there today, actually.
Did you?
All the certificates. Lots of tacos going out. Bryce has them too, I think.
Lincoln too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my nephew got one. I have a question on the purpose and goal statements. If they want to spend more than what they've allotted for, they just have to file an amendment, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, they file an amendment and they let us know, myself or Joanne, and then we take care of it through there, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because there are times when maybe they'll get some revenue that they didn't think they were getting, or a fundraiser went better than they thought, and so now they have more funds to use, and they decide, well, we'd also like to do this, we didn't think we were gonna be able to before, and that happens throughout the year, so yeah, they just amended at that point.
Ms. Brown at Preston has a very generous amount, so I have some ideas for some exciting things she can do. So
She has some.
I'm gonna reach out to her now that her birthday's passed
For
and
other-
offer to help her with whatever ideas she has to make sure we have some good fun for the kids there this year.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris. Mrs. Schaefer.
Aye.
Ms. White.
Aye.
Ms. Coco.
Aye.
Mr. Gomez.
Aye.
Okay, item I, Treasurer CFO's business, Ms. Stokely.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve the September 2025 investment schedule and monthly spending report.
So moved.
Second.
Page.
Okay. So let's look here. So the first thing, let's take a look at the interest. So it was our best month so far. But again, our cash balances were a little higher in September than some other months. So another good month, but still, as those funds are dwindling down, especially in those specialized ones that have to do with the construction project, those are going to just continue to decline as we continue to draw down on that cash for the project. Take a look at the athletics, because I keep talking about that the last couple months. You can see here that I said there would be some, maybe. You guys. Okay. Well, oh, there it is. Okay. So they brought in almost 34,000 in the month of September. Expenditures obviously not as much as previous. So, like I said, they are back in the red. They are actually closer to I think 40,000 right now. I looked yesterday. So, because there's been a few more home games, one being the opening of the stadium. So they did well that night. So they're up there, which is more than they had last year at this time in October. So that's looking good. And then we can look at general fund real quick. It's pretty much, I mean, we did the forecast, so you kind of know where this is kind of heading there, but we ended at about 10.5, so about $1 million from August, but received some more tax revenue, which kept us revenue over expenditures for the month. These next few months, obviously, you'll see the opposite of that, just due to there being kind of a lull. We're not going to get any more tax revenue in those months again until January, February. So those are our lower months. So we will see that balance decline a little and then go back on the upswing, as you can see the trend in previous years. And I think those are all the major.
Any questions or comments?
Can you do food service for us?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
So food service, and this is another one too, kind of similar to athletics. The thing is kind of spending the money, going through the lunches, and then we submit for that federal reimbursement afterwards. So obviously, we have August and all of September. We don't typically receive that first payment until October for all that reimbursement, which I haven't even seen it yet come through.
We probably won't get it right until they reopen.
Correct. And so, unless it was in the process before, I'm not sure, because it probably should have been in there, but not sure what will happen with that. But they are in the red technically, but we have anticipated revenue, so that's not really necessarily true. And then the timing of when we receive that now, with the shutdown and all of that, October may look similar. If that does not happen, or if there's nothing that changes immediately soon to push those. So that's typically a big one because it encompasses half of August and all of September. So that's one of the bigger ones. I'd say it's usually around 170, 180,000, about that. So I'm not concerned about that at the moment. It's really the timing similar with athletics. Obviously, we're still spending salary and benefits because they're split out over, you know, the 12 months and the 24 pays as opposed to as they're working. So expenses are always higher than revenue in the summer because of that. Because we're not feeding students then, or very little with this, you know, the summer compared to what we would normally do during the year.
Are we seeing any delays in our title funds?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, so the last month for September, we do them monthly, at the end of the month, and we've received all of those, so far, but that was, those were also done, like, at the end of September, so. It may have already been, depending on the timing of it, on their end, when they processed it, it could have been in right before.
Thank you.
But no, we have not seen any.
Thank you. Okay, Stokely, please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer? Aye. Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
And treasurer CFO's comments, Ms. Stokely?
Yes, so I do have a couple things. So one, the auditors have been in this week, good times. Today was actually their last day, so everything so far looks good. They have questions about a couple things that we're looking into, but I think you've all received an email from them in regards to the fraud questionnaire, and then they're going to be working on some things remotely then, so probably through the end of the year. I need to follow up with our inventory company. See, so that there is a deadline for our ACF, our annual comprehensive financial report, and it's usually around Thanksgiving. So I did follow up with them and haven't heard back, but it just reminded me of that, so I will follow up with them to make sure that is in on time and we don't have to file an extension.
I'll call them again if you want me
Okay.
to. It worked last time.
It did work last time. And as you know, we've got a new inventory company coming in, which should be much smoother. I do not know if you all received, and I do have a question in. So one of the things with the 5-year forecast that triggers a written plan is if line 10.01 in the second year, this is confusing. In the letter we just received. Yeah, in the second year, which is basically your balance before any renewal levies, is negative, then you would have to do a written plan. So technically, although we're in the black with the renewal levy for that second year, without it, we would be in the red. So I did reach out today and just said, you know, I'm not sure what to do with this written plan because this levy is on the ballot in, you know, November, and if it passes, that alleviates our problem, and we'll know it. So he's going to get back to me, the gentleman we worked with before. But I think if there is passage, we really won't have to do anything other than state that. I don't know if I'll have to like refile in an optional window for them. This is part of the reason it's nice when your forecast is in November and May.
Well, that's why they moved it from October to November, because when I was first came on the board, it was in October.
Yep, it was. It was always in October and May, and then they moved it, and it was nice because you knew the results and you could factor that in. And now that it's in February and October, you're not going to be able to do that other than, you know, after the fact of things. So it seems like a lot of extra work in this case for some people that are getting these notifications and then they have a levy pass and then it's really not necessary. So I'm waiting to hear back from them kind of on, you know, what happens after, you know, if there's passage of that levy, what all do we need to officially do. So the only other thing is just a couple of those House bills that are flying around about property taxes. There's two that were in the House Ways and Means Committee and came out. One does not affect us because it applies to the 20 mil floor.
That's 186.
It
passed the House today.
It did pass the House today. And so while that doesn't affect us, it doesn't mean that it couldn't at some point, and it affects a lot of other districts in kind of capping, in a sense, the inflationary growth on those mills that are on the 20 mill floor. So we wouldn't see any immediate effects from that. But House Bill 335 is kind of the same thing, but it's on inside millage, which would affect everybody and would affect us, and kind of caps it as well based on some the inflationary measures and things like that. To not go over when you're in a reappraisal.
And passed the House today too.
Yeah, so, there's all sorts of ones flying about. The newest one was to eliminate it altogether and increase sales tax and.
93?
And, yeah, 93, so,
You're stealing all of Mr. Harris's
I know,
thunder
sorry.
over there.
No, I appreciate it.
But this is why it's important to be reaching out and emailing your legislators, and letting them know how much this is going to impact many people. One of the things I will note, because it does affect this levy, but a lot of the things, for example, the emergency levy. Now, there is a proposal that is out there as well that's talking about you can renew it one time. But as of right now, with the override of that veto, that's not technically allowed right now. However, if you have an this does not affect us either, but many districts have emergency levies that were passed before 2013. And so while they tout it as, saving money by eliminating this kind of property tax or making this or that, those had that 12.5% rollback credit reimbursed by the state. It was not paid by taxpayers. That was paid by the state. Now, if they can't renew those levies, they have to put on new ones. They lose that credit. And so really now they're paying more money because the school still needs the money. And now taxpayers are paying more money and the state doesn't. And it's really kind of this spin and all of that, and really it's gonna end up costing the taxpayer more in the long run. And so people need to it's a tough topic, property tax and how they work, and it's hard to understand, and but it is important to know that that it's coming from somewhere at the end of the day, and a lot of these are going to end up costing taxpayers more money in the long run than saving them, unfortunately.
The sponsor of that bill told me that it was worth it to alleviate the confusion for taxpayers. That was his response to me when I asked him about that. So he said, you're actually going to cost people more money if these levies then get approved, because districts are counting on this money. And he said, it's worth it to alleviate the confusion for taxpayers. I would not feel that way if I was paying 10% more on my property tax bill personally.
12.5% more? No. So yes, there is definitely some doozies flying about, but we're keeping our eye. Those two are the most likely at this point moving forward, but there are a number of them out there, and it's just important to stay engaged as community members, as board members, as staff, with legislators, and letting them know, how that really is going to directly impact students in the long run, unfortunately.
I have a question about our audit. I know we have Julian and Grube that prepares it as an outside firm. How many more years do we have them under contract for that? Do you know? Or can you get us that and let us know?
Yeah, I think it's two after this.
Okay.
I think two after this. Typically, they'll let you do a one-time rollover of the same amount of the contract. At least that's what they've done in the past. But then they won't you'll have to go back to the state after that second one. So in previous district that we had Julian and Grube as well, we had them for a 5-year contract. They allow a one-time, yep, you can do another 5 years, and then they make you go back to the state auditor. So fingers crossed, because it's so much easier and less time consuming than when the state is in. So.
Well, because those state auditors don't actually have offices, so they work out of yours.
Set up shop.
Okay, thank you.
That brings us to item G, Superintendent CEO's Business Consent Agenda. Dr. Salico.
Thank you, Ms. Coco. It is recommended that the Board of Education approves all items listed in the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Very
Oh,
light,
shoot.
yeah, very light. A couple personnel items. Just misplaced my notes. Sorry. I know we have a lot of coaches there listed for most of our sports. We have some classified appointments, substitutes, just a couple there, and our extra duties, supplementals. We have there's my notes, the last page, of course, that I wrote them on. We have a couple of retirements, resignations due to retirements, and I just want to point out that's Cindy Hardy, who's school counselor at the high school, and Kathy Sudri, who's a school psychologist. So I know Miss Hardy, I don't know, we were looking at, or she told us the years. I think it's over 40 that she's been here. So wish her well, both of them well, and thank you for their service. And that's really it for personnel. And then we have the Ohio minimum wage increase, so that's just the reflective of the $10.70 to $11 an hour, and that's just to comply with state law.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Except every time I see minimum wage increase, I think back to how much I got for my first job, and it makes me feel really, really old.
Yeah.
But I still think it should be higher now, so.
Yes, it should.
All right, Ms. Stokoe, please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris? Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Brings us to item H, Superintendent CEO's business, Dr. Selico.
Thanks, Ms. Coco. I want to just start by saying we went to presentations last night, Ms. Hausman and I went to, I made it to all three of the presentations, and just because it was a really tight turnaround, but Mr. Oswald gave the presentation to Bolick. I know we had some people there. At Bolick and Roberts first, then Bolick, then the high school, for Mr. Smith, that they gave a much more detailed account of what now you'll see. So our previous parent meeting was like kind of a more generic about the building and the process. Now we got a little bit more to the nuts and bolts of like scheduling, arrival, dismissal. We showed the parents and families, the direction in which they'll travel, where the doors are located, just much more detail. And then we also, because we didn't expect all of our parents to be there, we did, both of them actually, did what we call Loom video, so recorded themselves with the PowerPoint, so that will be going out very soon, tonight. Oh, look at that, as soon as tonight. I know Mr. Smith had to re-record it. I felt so bad that he was here and he said he recorded the whole thing and the microphone wasn't on, and he had to redo the whole thing. I'm like, that really is terrible, I'm sorry. So he was going to do that this evening, so hopefully that'll get out again tonight. But that will be helpful for parents, receive some feedback that people were really appreciative and appreciate those kind remarks from people that were there. I do want to point out and just say that, sitting there, I put my parent hat on and I was just thinking, okay, if I'm a parent and I'm listening to this, I would feel really at ease at how both principals explained it. I think they made people, feel better about the traffic in the building, the traffic outside, how things will, come together, and when students will and will not be together, middle school and high school, that came up a little bit. And then just when you got to see, we actually had TDA created, and I appreciate the help of Ms. Stewart, those videos that they drove through the campus, and it's a really long drive. And because I know one of the things I heard from parents is, well, what about this? There's going to be a big backup. There really isn't. That is a long drive, and if you've driven it, which I have, it will fit a lot of cars. And drop off in the middle school will be 20 cars at a time that students can drop off and go. So it just made me feel really good as a parent, as well as a superintendent, of just the work that has gone into this. I don't think people realize the amount of details that we are responsible for to make this, from the time that we signed the papers, right, and said, let's go, to the time that we're about to open the doors. The team here and others that have just done an amazing job. I feel very confident that it will be a smooth opening, and just appreciate the work that our team has done. So I'm going to give kudos to everybody that has been involved. We sit through an awful lot of meetings, talk about a lot of things, but every little detail, and we're going to miss some, but we try to be as detailed as we can. So want to take a time to say that to my team. As you may be aware, we had the last home game, so the stadium, I don't think there's anything else being played there, at least that I'm aware of. I haven't heard about playoffs or anything like that, but people have really enjoyed the stadium, and it's just been a nice feeling there. We have a lot of upcoming events, concerts coming up. The last hurrah for some of those, and the last time in the old auditorium. So next Thursday, I want to point out, is an especially busy night. For me, I am going to try to hit all three, but we have the Family Center Fall Festival at Cheney for our families that we'll be providing some coats and
It's
it's
at
a price.
Price.
You're
It's at
right, it did
Price,
change,
yeah.
and I'm the one who changed it. I should know better. Sorry about that. We had it at Cheney. We moved it to Price, and so we'll be giving out coats and winter apparel for some families, and we'll have dinner and some festivities. So looking forward to that. That's going to start at 5 o'clock. Then Silver Lake has their trick or treat at 6:30, and then we have the One More Time Festival at 7. So I'm gonna try to hustle and get to all of those, at least an appearance at some. One More Time concert.
One more time, yeah.
7
Right.
o'clock.
Advance.
Yeah, that's all Thursday.
No, Silver Lake's trunk or treat is on Wednesday.
Oh, then I have it on the wrong day on my calendar.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
Thursday night, 7
Oh.
o'clock.
Well, that makes it easier.
And
I don't
then
have to
one more
hustle as
time
much.
is at 7. Yeah, the trunk or
Thursday.
treat's on Wednesday.
Well, glad you said that, because they have it on Thursday for me. Are we sure that's right? I'm not that I'm questioning.
On
but
Wednesday, the 29th.
Yeah.
It is? Oh, okay. Well, I will move that.
30th is the one more time, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I know, already.
all right.
I do
Well,
know it is.
that
7:30?
is it
7.
for me. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to our board business. Item I. Number 1 is our policies first read, and Mr. Gomez is going to read through them. This will save a little time, and as he reads, he's going to go over some things that were changed on them. That way we don't have to circle back.
Section B, School Board Governance and Operations. BF, Board Policy Development and Adoption. This came from OSBA. This allows the superintendent to make technical corrections. We changed the language because we didn't like it in policy committee. OSBA suggested that the superintendent just be able to make the corrections. We wanted the superintendent to be able to make the corrections, but then submit them to the board for final adoption. That way, if there's anything that we ever were in disagreement with, we could then not approve those changes. And then there also is a change here that allows additional circumstances in which policies could be approved with only one reading. Section D, Fiscal Management. DBD, Budget Planning. This is because we have the 4-year forecast instead of 5. DE, Revenues from Tax Sources. It's recognition there's the less types of levies now because of the veto override. DJC, Bidding Requirements. There's a special piece in there about school buses. DLC, Expense Reimbursement. This is to align our policy with a new opinion from the Ohio Ethics Commission. Section E, Support Services. EBC, Emergency Management and Safety Plans. The new law on cell phones requires us to include in our safety plan how we would permit students to use their phones in times of emergencies. EEA, Student Transportation Services. This relates to our use of vans for transportation. EEAC, School Bus Safety Program, also relates to our use of vans. EEACC-R, Student Conduct on District Managed Transportation, also about vans. EEACD, Drug Testing for motor van drivers and district personnel required to hold a commercial license, relates to vans. New policy, EEACD-R-2, Drug Testing for motor van drivers because we use vans. EEAD, non-routine use of school buses and motor vans, again because of vans. EHA, District Records Commission, records retention and disposal. This is including a new definition on public records that was adopted in law. EHC, cybersecurity. This came out of the budget bill, and this is the same language as a resolution we previously voted on that Mr. Hutch brought to us. Section F, facilities development, FD, tax issues. There's a new procedure on placing issues on the ballots outlined in that policy. Section G, personnel, GBQ, criminal records checks. That relates to van drivers. GCI, professional staff assignments and transfers. It relates to how the superintendent can do placements, but this would not apply to our district until new contracts are approved. And that's new collective bargaining contracts, not just teacher contracts. IGAE, health education. Oh, I forgot to write what that one was for. I missed one. I knew I was going to miss one.
There's a lot.
We'll come back to that one. IGBB, programs for students who are gifted. This is a change in legal language only, but there's modifications to come to our gifted programs in relation to this, and Ms. Hausman will be updating those in the future. IGBEA, reading skills assessments and interventions, 3rd grade reading guarantee, and IGBEA-R, reading skills assessments and intervention, 3rd grade reading guarantee. You can no longer write into an IEP or 504 an opt-out of the 3rd grade reading guarantee. IGD, co-curricular and extracurricular activities, and IGDJ, interscholastic athletics, apologies. Those both relate to homeschooled students' participation in those activities. IGEE, diplomas for special circumstances. This is a local policy change, and it allows us to, existing language allows us to award diplomas to veterans of foreign wars that may have missed their graduation, and new language allows us to give them out in special circumstances as well as posthumously and with Board of Education approval only. And there's a special circumstance that may come to us once this is approved. IKA grading systems relates to weighted grading scales. If we use weighted grading scales, which we do at the high school, they has to be in accordance with state law. IKE, promotion and retention of students, includes a new definition of truancy. IKEB, acceleration, says that advanced learning opportunities must be provided as required by law. IKF, graduation requirements, relates to a new pathway for financial literacy. IND/INDA, school ceremonies and observances / patriotic exercises. It includes language on Constitution Day and the observance of it. This is an existing requirement. It's OSBA is just asking us to include it in our policy since it's already required. Section J, students. JECBB, inter-district open enrollment. It's adding clarity on the definition of students that meet the 10% absences in a year. JED, student absences and excuses, inclusion of 8 hours for driver's education training as an excused absence per law. JEDA, truancy, includes procedures for working with the juvenile court for truant students, and that absence intervention plans are not required anymore. JEDC, religious expression days, all this is a change of the numbering of the Ohio Revised Code. JEFB, release time for religious instruction. This is a change required by the law, and it says that it must be allowed up to 1 class period equivalency per week. JFCK, use of cell phones and electronic communication devices by students. I'd invite you to read that policy in full because we spent a lot of time on that. We had Mr. Smith and Mr. Oswald present on that as well. As you know, the state law is changing again in regards to this, and in our reading of it and understanding of it, and based on what our principals at the 612 level offered, we're going to a policy starting at the new building in January of no cell bell to bell. So that means they won't be able to use them in passing periods, at lunchtime, or in study halls. Those are the permitted times now that they're allowed to use their cell phones. So it'll be that no cell bell to bell. It's the easiest way to say it. And we also added language that they just cannot be seen. So we talked a lot about how sometimes students have them in their pockets. It's not really an issue if they have them in their pocket as opposed to their locker or their backpack. And with the inclusion of them being able to use them should there be an emergency, it's kind of more helpful if they're permitted to have it on their person, but we don't want to see it, because if we see it, that means they're most likely trying to violate the policy in some way. So seeing an outline of a phone in a pocket, that's not a problem. We're not upset about that. We just don't want to see the student pull out the phone at any point during the day. So we're working on that, and then once it's approved, there'll be a lot of communication about how that will be in the new building and the changes. But as both principals said, it's not been a huge issue. And then the other thing that they've heard a lot is it going to overwhelm staff if people are calling the main office? And they said they haven't had any issues with that they can report on.
I would hope not. I mean, we had 850 just per grade level.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot less now. I
And
didn't
then
think it would.
JHG, reporting child abuse and mandatory training. Per state law, there's more options now for providers of sexual abuse prevention training. Section K, school community relations, KBA, public's right to know. It defines records as public records only. Okay, and then back to health education. It just talks about opt-out or opt-in provisions and making sure we're following all those required under state or federal law. There was that U.S. Supreme Court decision that came over the summer about parents' abilities to opt out. OSBA is pretty sure that everything in the Parents' Bill of Rights, House Bill 8, already covers that in the state of Ohio. They just suggest this language to make sure our policies are fully compliant with that. And that's everything. It's a lot, but we wanted to provide those explanations to be as clear as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez, and thank you to you and Mrs. Schaefer for all your work. I'm sure that was not a short evening on the
It was
policy
not short. It was
committee.
fun, and I learned a lot.
It was over 2 hours, but we were surprised. It didn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it. I learned a lot.
Okay, item 2 is future agenda items. Anyone have anything that they would like to add onto our already heavy?
I don't have anything additional.
Do you want me to tell you what we have so
Yeah,
far? I
if
just
you
went
could
and
go
looked.
through.
Yeah, I went through the draft. So November
Recap.
12th, we didn't have anything scheduled. I will be able to do a brief strategic plan update. That'll be the day after our first meeting, so that actually is timely. We do have a full-blown strategic plan. I don't know if it's really full-blown, but it'll be more in-depth on January 28th. So, so that's the only thing we have for November 12th. November 19th, we have an open enrollment discussion. December 10th, program of studies. And then, just to back up what we learned tonight, I think we said November 19th will be boundaries
Correct.
And the 10th, too.
And the
and
10th.
the time.
And also on the 10th, we'll have wellness. They do their annual presentation.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. So what, December 10th looks pretty full. I think also November 19th will be pretty full. If we need, probably November 12th would be a decent evening if there's something anyone needs to have addressed between now and then.
Could you say those one more time for me, please?
Sure. November 12th is strategic plan,
That's the quick update.
the quick update.
Okay.
November 19th will be open enrollment and boundaries.
Okay, boundaries.
December 10th, program of studies, boundaries, and wellness. And then January 28th.
We'll
is
probably have an
strategic.
executive session on the 12th.
We will
too.
have an executive session, yes.
So that'll make that, yeah.
Okay. Yep, I'll put it in on
I think that's enough.
Okay.
I'll make those notes.
Thank you. Item 3, committee reports. Ms. White?
Yes, the Teacher Clarity DLT met. They did a lot really in that time. They looked at ready, which means are the ready position, sitting up, being ready to go, being prepared and focusing, eyes on the speaker, eye contact with the speaker, actively listen, and how does that look, and how would you model that? Digging deeper, again, for teachers to go into something a little deeper, and then your turn. Wait for your moment to speak, and then speak, and make sure that you're respectful doing so. So that was one part of it. Another thing that they did was talk a little bit more about efficacy, and if you remember what that means, it's a teacher's belief in his or her ability to positively impact student learning is critical to actual success or failure in a teacher's behavior. So again, what does that look like? What is it? They went through how do we communicate efficiently or effectively, and then research that shows what self-efficacious, I hope I said that right, teachers do. And so they, of course, continuously try to learn more and improve, and they seek professional learning, they set attainable goals, and so on and so on. So they went through that, and then they partnered up the schools, and then they looked at a group objective, whatever that might be, and they engaged in that. Well, how does that align? What's the pacing? And so on, to get that alignment, which, equals kind of growth or strength. So when you look at that and pacing, what is the why? The engagement strategy summary. Again, I'm not going to read all of this because it's a lot, but they really did look at things like that. And then also readiness. When students, you wait until they're ready and they're actually looking at you before you start. And then student engagement, again, the eyes forward, sitting up in your seat. It's that body behavior, which really is like, I think 90% of communications is body language. So really getting into that discussion and, how does that look and so on. I think that was, well, there's a lot more, but, again, they did go into chronic absence and early warning dashboard, and how do they use that regularly, and what does that look like, and how do they plan to use it this year. And then the core 3 practices of trajectory changing schools, the belonging, the consistency, and the coherence that are needed to put them on the right track. So that was that. And then the gifted committee also met, and basically we just kind of went back over our goals. We wanted to be more transparent and have good communication. The WEPs are, again, being re-looked at and are more interactive. We're trying to pair with counseling to include some of those options for parents and so on. A menu of differentiation options for high school teachers so that they can go in and see, how can this kid doesn't get this, how can I differentiate the instruction to make sure that they can. More SEL, which is the wellness and how they're feeling, the emotional intelligence, and then also planning for Spelling Bee and the Reading and Writing Festival and book clubs for the elementary, which I love it. I am so glad there's book clubs at the elementary school. For math, they didn't forget math, the 24 game. This is 25 math game season 2. They have district tournaments on Saturday, January 17th at Preston Elementary. And out of district competition will be February 12th at Copley Fairlawn. And then there's the math club with Mrs. Is it Minky? Mike? I'm not sure, but that's for the gifted 3rd through 5th grade. The ELL enrichment, spelling bee, and writing workshop. So poetry was at Bolick And then they did a writing workshop at Roberts. And then they also had practicing artists come in to speak with those kids. So that was really neat that they did that. And there's a bunch of things, the Roots of American Music Song, writing workshops, Erie Ink poetry and essay workshops, and Stop the Hate writing contest. So that was kind of things that they are implementing for our gifted kids, and it just was really interesting, all that we are doing to help with our gifted students.
Thank you, Ms. White.
Mhm.
And that was your student achievement liaison, not your 6 through 12 construction?
Yes, for DLT and the gifted though, because it's kind of both.
Together, yeah. Thank you. Right, athletics and activity, you didn't have?
We have a meeting set at the end of November.
Okay. And board policy committee, I think we covered that in detail, so I'm gonna skip over to Business Alliance Council. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, we met last Tuesday. It was a little bit of a smaller group this time around, but still good presentations. We had a presentation on mental health services update. Again, just hearing some of the, I'm always just amazed by the numbers that Ms. Merkel gives out about the Family Center, and just the donations, the grants, the families we have served. It's just incredible. And then we also got a presentation on student internships and how folks involved in that organization can get involved in providing internships. And then with a focus on looking at how middle schoolers can start getting interested in our CTE program as well. So, but yeah, it was a very good meeting. Dr. Selico loved the 9 to 10 change we made. It's fantastic. No, it's a little bit more to fit in there. But I know I always had to leave at like 10 a.m. because I had to run to a meeting. So, but no, it was great. Did I miss anything, Ms. Schaefer?
No, I was gonna, I like how she put in there some of the things that were like board initiatives that she put in there. The wellness the addition of the wellness coordinator position, 11 school counselors, 3 school social workers, the attendance liaison, embedded mental health provider. So that kind of pointed out the things that we're working together as a board to add in. And I was thankful that she added those in, so that the community members that were involved in the Business Alliance were able to see what we're doing together.
And we had a question, I think. I don't know if it was at that meeting or the last meeting, Dr. Selico, about mental health support, so I'm glad we were able to provide that update.
That's probably why she,
Yeah.
that's perfect, yeah.
So one of the things we did was we did a survey with the business council and asked them what things they would like to accomplish this year and what things they would like to learn more about. And one was the mental health, and the other was the career connections, which is why I had the 2 speakers.
Yeah, it was very informative.
Thank you. District Wellness Committee, do you have a meeting coming up or scheduled?
In the new year.
New year. Great, and I have Finance Committee in November, and Foundation and Alumni Association. Dr. Selico, do you want to just give a real quick, if anything? Down for the count.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I was trying to think. Oh my goodness, I have to recall what we talked about.
Other than the switching of the hands of the presidency.
We did, that was a big item. We did switch that.
Who's your president?
It'll be Karen Schofield and Kathy Moffitt will be handling that. I gave a report on what's been happening in the district. We talked a little bit about the opening and the new tours and let them know about those things. We actually we got through our agenda. Oh, they talked about, it's coming back to me now, all these meetings I go to, probably 100 in a week. The video, they did a video, went through the high school, so they hired a videographer, is that the word? And he went through and took some footage. They were really excited about that, and they shared that out, and that was about it. I had to leave early myself, so.
Thank you. And Mr. Harris, legislative?
Yeah, Ms. Stoikoi covered a couple of the pieces of legislation I was going to talk about. House Bill 186, which did pass in the House today. And I don't get a lot of opportunities to actually sit and watch that live. I did both of those, and taking in a lot of what both sides were saying. I wrote down some stuff here. So, basically, with this House Bill 186, it again limits future growth for 20 mill Florida districts to inflation. Half Ohioans who don't live in 20 mill districts will see no change in property taxes. The other half will see $13 savings a month, about $13 in savings a month. Where they're going to see the biggest here is our out-of-state investors who are going to see thousands of dollars in relief monthly from this. So there was an amendment that was trying to, Rep. Troy tried to propose there to replace the 2.5% owner-occupied credit with a $1,000 credit. That failed, but it was interesting to, like I said, I don't really get
Did
it.
it fail, or was it laid on the table?
It was laid on the table.
Okay.
Yes, it was laid on the table. And then House Bill 335, again, that passed as well, caps growth of inside millage at the rate of inflation. This, again, it's not relief. Requires districts, especially those not at the 20 mill floor, to go to the ballot more. Again, this is a savings for corporations and investors as well. And it was brought up by a representative, I can't remember who it was, that said, it's not going to keep, if you think this is going to keep folks from wanting to put property tax on the ballot, it's not. I mean, it's very, what we're facing here with abolishing property taxes is about a $20 billion loss to at the local level. It's going to be detrimental. And these Band-Aids they keep presenting, the Band-Aids that are coming down the pike here are just that, they're Band-Aids. So we're going to have a leaky ship as long as we keep doing that. And then
It's important too that includes all. So that includes even, we had an attorney speak last week at one of our presentations, but that includes like your debt service. So let's say they abolish, there are going to be severe legal challenges to doing that because, for example, for us, Huntington, and our bond that we took out, that means abolishing all of it. Bond levies, operating levies, permanent improvement, everything. We still owe that money to Huntington, and they're gonna take issue with the fact that taxpayers are no longer paying that if we abolish taxes. So there's gonna be, that's one of the things. There are going to be some severe, like big legal challenges, and it could just turn out to be a mess. But we have another 30-some or 50-some years on owing that, and agreed, and that would also be part of what's eliminated. Things we don't think about.
it's true. It's we want the schools involved in this conversation. I don't think the schools are involved in this conversation.
It'd make a lot of contracts. I'm not a lawyer, but contract lawyers are gonna have a lot of fun because it's all those OFCC contracts are contingent upon having a permanent improvement levy.
Yep.
So they're gonna have a lot of fun with that if that passes. But
And then Senate Bill 93, as Mr. Wickley mentioned as well, that eliminates local control taxes, creating a uniform system where state collects and distributes all education funding. It also does a couple other things. One major change would be countywide busing systems. Instead of each district operating its own fleet, one transportation network would serve every public and charter school in the county. The idea is to save money in pulling drivers, but we could easily stop transporting charter school students if we want to save some money. And then also as well, Senate Bill 93 would also make open enrollment mandatory across Ohio, allowing students to attend schools outside their home districts if there is space available. So, yep, a lot of stuff coming through there.
does it define what space available means? I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up. It does not.
I haven't heard much on that. We
Yeah.
did learn about this, and we all, of course, find it quite absurd. I don't know where they're gonna find space. I mean, I know we get to define space, but no, they haven't talked too much about that.
And I just want to reiterate what Ms. Stoicoy said as well. Just let's try to continue reaching out to our legislators and asking folks, our neighbors, our friends, our family members to do that as well, because it's going to impact everybody.
I don't think that one will gain traction.
No.
I don't think it'll go anywhere. Feasibility wise, it just can't be done.
Ooh, again,
Thank you,
very
Mr.
important
Harris.
to watch when you vote, to vote for people that are supporting public schools.
That brings us to Ms. White, your comments.
Okay. Right. I could have saved that.
That
No.
was one comment, you get two more. No.
We'll have a little more tonight, but I was going through our notes, and I just wanted to give some shout-outs to a few people. The Dr. Heron math update was really interesting. Algebra support course. They did some, they put teams together and discussed how the students are responding to some of the structure of the course, where the students work well collaboratively and are showing improvement in confidence and interest because they are collaborating more. So I thought that was really good, a step moving forward. And the 8th grade team is also looking at using more formative assessment information and gathering that and seeing how they can improve. But they are requiring their students to problem solve, communicate, and collaborate. So that, I think that is, again, the right way that we are going in our programs. And then the science update interested me too, because the teachers are navigating the shift toward a more student-centered instructional approach. A key focus is gaining a deeper understanding of the 5 E's, which is engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So I think, that might help students take more risks in self-discovery. I think it's a good way for us to go. I think we're getting where we need to be. So those 2 things were very, very uplifting to me. And then also, I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Hutch. Since he visited Lincoln a few weeks ago, and he started to make time for some of the 4th grade students there. He made an agreement with one of them, and he took that student to as his VIP guest at Lambert Stadium on Friday night. And it was a great experience, and he's going to do this more with Richardson as well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that. All these good things that people are doing, our teachers, our staff, it's on the right track and the right way to go. I also wanted to mention our music program earned national recognition once again. It was honored with the Best Communities for Music Education designation from the NAMM Foundation for their outstanding support and commitment to music education for the 8th year in a row. Now in its 26th year, the Best Communities for Music Education designation is awarded to districts that demonstrate outstanding achievement for providing music access and education to all students. And so that again, 8th year in a row, that is just something to be so proud of for our kids. And finally, I did make it to...
It's kind of like a tradition.
It is, now, yeah, because 8 years, that's something. It really is. And so we're just so proud of our students, our staff, our teachers. They just do an awesome job. And I think pointing out some of these things is good for the community to know. I also made it out to the football game, the last one. And when I ran for school board, I always thought of it as a privilege and a service to the community that I grew up in, that I love so much. And so I didn't expect any special things or privileges, and that never occurred to me. But when I went to that stadium and I had a little parking spot so I could walk pretty close, it made it, because I'm 72. I mean, I'm getting up there. I'm not that bad yet. I hope I'll be around for a few more years. But I mean, it does take time, and that was so special. But the other thing that was even better than that was that I got to go on the field at halftime and watch my grandson perform in that band. And I just can't tell you how grateful, appreciative I am for being able to do that. It was wonderful, just absolutely wonderful. I also want to give and thank you. Whoever did that, all of you, I don't know, but it was wonderful. I hope I can do that again next year. Probably be my last one. football season, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But at any rate, I just greatly appreciate it. I went home that night and I actually cried. I was like, God, that was so fantastic. I just did. I had tears because I could actually see Parker out there on the field, and it was just wonderful. Thank you very much. I also want to give one final shout out to the cheerleaders. I did get to sit almost right in front of them, and of course my former student is their coach, so yeah, that's great. But at any rate, they cheered their heart out. And I don't think we say that often enough, you know, that they, even when our team is so far behind, they're not gonna win, you know that. But those cheerleaders just give it their all. And I just sat there and watched them just cheer out. I mean, they're from their heart. Just keep going the whole night. It was great. So good job for those cheerleaders too. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. White.
That's all. I didn't have an article, so, because I had a lot.
I get to make up for it now.
No, next
I don't
time.
even know how I'm gonna follow that, for all the wonderful things that you just shared and said. I really don't have a lot to follow other than, I know a lot of events were mentioned. November 7th is the middle school bonfire also, so I just wanted to put that out there as well. And wanted to say thank you to Mr. Gomez for running the meeting last time, and also for all of you for kind of holding down the fort. I know I've had a lot of health issues the past couple weeks, but I am on the mend. And I was not able to attend the final game, but I was able to attend other events at the new stadium that have happened so far this year. And, you know, that sense of pride in being there, and it is.
Oh yeah, the lights flashed when they made a
Very,
touchdown. I mean, I
very
was
memorable.
sorry,
I
Ms.
did,
Coco.
however, even though I wasn't feeling well enough to go to the final game, I did pay $3 to drive up and drop my daughter off to meet her friend's family at the door and drive back out. And waved at it was actually our swim coach was Will was taking the money, and who I know, and he's like, didn't you just pay $3 to park? I'm like, just giving you some money, donation, just dropping a kid off. But that's all I have. I'm looking forward to the Crucible as well. You know, it's the final one act at this high school, so I'm excited for that. Right, Mr. Gomez?
Yeah. Mrs. Schaefer and I had a lot of fun at Richardson Trunk or Treat. We had a setup, mostly thanks to Mrs. Schaefer, where they walked a physical plank to get their candy. And we had a lot of fun. We have 3 more to go. 3 more trunk or treats to go, because 4 of our schools do it. So we're excited for that. And then for our elementary kiddos to have their fall parties as well. And then I just wanted to share a few things from the DLT teacher clarity, because I was really inspired reading some of this stuff, so if you'll indulge me. This is from the high school in Preston. They said, the environment that you create within your classroom drives the success. And then from Price in the middle school, they said, all the teacher-based teams have put the thought into the work and everyone is enjoying it. And they also said, overall at both levels, there appears to be a large amount of buy-in with the engagement strategy, and teachers are experiencing the results. At Richardson and DeWitt, they said, vocabulary in the art room and exposure to wit and wisdom artwork in the art room is a wonderful opportunity to work cross-curricularly. And at Lincoln and Silver Lake, they said, buildings are working with either Dr. Wolfong or Dr. Heron to grow teacher professional expertise and grow student achievement, and they're working on craft perfection. And they said EL students are benefiting from hearing new vocabulary, then using it in their own responses. I was really, truly inspired reading all of these things that come directly from our teachers in all of our buildings. And I just kept thinking what Ms. Hausman says, that this can be our breakthrough year. And when you read things like that from our teachers, you really do believe it. So truly was inspired, read it several times, and then just reading about these 3 core practices of trajectory changing schools, belonging. Schools create an emotional climate for learning that activates students' ability to excel. Consistency. Schools deliver consistently good teaching and grade level content for all students. And coherence. Schools build a unified instructional program and set priorities that are clear for all. I got really excited when I read that because like those are goals within our strategic plan
Yes,
and that
yes.
last part for steering to student achievement. So I got really excited because I'm like, we're working on all of those things. So I was truly, really inspired, and I wanted to share that out so more of our community could hear about that.
Moving in the right direction.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Mr. Harris?
Just congratulations to our graduate, our staff star awardee, our Preston Elementary School, and to our Top Tigers. I only have one thing here. I was just very honored, and I was able to attend a military service for a former graduate of Cuyahoga Falls High School, Sergeant Harold Weaver. I'm just going to read about Mr. Weaver here real quick. Harold M. Weaver was born in September 4th, 1917 in Cuyahoga Falls to Louis Rollin and Marie Patterson Weaver. Harold graduated from Cuyahoga Falls High School and was attending Kent State University at the time of his enlistment into the Marine Corps in 1941. Harold fought overseas at the Battle of Guadalcanal and the Battle of Peleliu, where he was wounded. After his quick recovery, he was promoted to platoon sergeant in time to land in Okinawa. On May 4th, 1945, the Japanese military launched a massive counterattack against the American lines. The bombardment killed at least 15 men in Love Company alone. The bodies were collected and buried. Some were so badly mangled as to be unidentifiable. In 2023, the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency DPAA determined remains found in 2016 were that a platoon sergeant, Harold Weaver. On Saturday, October 11th, after 80 years, Mr. Weaver was laid to rest as a hometown hero. So I just wanted to share that. It was a beautiful, beautiful service. I just welcome home, Mr. Weaver. So, and just thank you to all the folks who will be serving, who are serving, and who have served. Just thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Ms. Schaefer?
Well, as Mr. Gomez had said, we did the trunk or treat at Richardson, and our theme was the pirate walk the plank. And I wanted to comment, how many parents walked the plank as well? So it wasn't just children walking the plank, there were parents also. And I did use reclaimed wood, so it was a little bit wobbly, so it was kind of an adventure. Our last home game was this past Friday, and I got to do it's like a 50-yard flag at, with the alumni band, and Mr. Hutch got a video of it, so the first time ever I've seen it from like above, like way above. It was really cool. It looks tiny from the air. It feels gigantic when you're holding it on the field, but tiny from above. So that was very cool, and got a busy couple weeks. Kind of so many events coming up in the next few weeks. So some exciting few weeks.
Thank you. Item J is adjournment. It is recommended that the Board of Education adjourns this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Stokely, please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?